Hello, it's Sean. Today I'm going to be working on a Balrog. This is a little bit different than other projects that I've done, as this one is half started. This was a project that I got started on probably 10 years ago. Obviously did not finish it. New rules of the Lord of the Rings strategy battle game have just come out recently, and I'm looking to get back into playing that. So I pulled this model out and decided I need to work on it. So we're not starting with the bear model as we normally do. We're starting with this one. I've done a little bit of modification work to this. The model originally had a big flame spike on its back, and then there was some flames sticking out of the base. I didn't really like those, so I removed them. The base was easy, I just didn't put them in, and then I used some putty to fill the holes, and I'll actually end up covering this base with grit mostly, so that it matches the other models that are in my Moria army, but I'll still have some of these big blocks sticking out so that it has that feel as well. For the back, the spike went pretty much from here down to here with just a big flame sticking out his back. So what I did was I filled that with some putty, and I kind of just sculpted with a tool to make it look like the rest of this, where it's, you know, in my mind it's the creature's made of lava or something, and it's breaking up, so you see the cooling stuff on the surface. That's essentially the skin. I'll zoom in a little bit. I feel like I did a pretty good job with it. You can see the texture difference from here, where that's the original model, to here, but you gotta get pretty close to see it. So I'm not displeased with how I did it, and again, this was done a rather long time ago, so I need to work on making this look more like lava. So I'm probably going to do some maybe some orange and yellow, maybe some white, I'm not exactly sure, in there, but we'll play around with it and see what I can do. So that's what we're going to be doing with this model, and why we're starting in the middle of the project instead of at the beginning. I have no idea why I didn't paint the tail black. I stopped here. I don't know why. It's going to end up being black. But so that's the Balrog. It's a Lord of the Rings model. It's made by Games Workshop, and it's big. Like, the wingspan is about 10 inches on this thing, so it is a pretty sizable model. But we're going to play around with it, do a little work, and see how it looks when it's all finished. Well, I did a little playing around, and I think I've got a new way that I'm going to paint this. I've thought about just getting some yellow paint and some different stuff and trying to paint in between the lines here to get this a little bit lighter, but I decided I didn't like that idea. It would be too hard and wouldn't look all that good anyway. But so what I did is I took Ceramite White, which is a base color. It's good at covering darker stuff. I went into the cracks up here. So after that Ceramite White dried, then I washed it with a heavy coat of Casandora Yellow, and that gives me this really nice orangey reddish color that looks pretty good. And those are small areas, but I think when I do it on the whole area, it'll look nice as well. So I'm going to paint over all this with the Ceramite White and get a nice solid coat on that, and then we'll take the next step. Alright, I got this all painted white, his mouth painted white. Kind of a couple of the places where he looks cracked, so the flame inside of him can be seen. So now I'm going to wash that with Casandora Yellow. The wash is dried. I like how it's looking right now. Next up, I'm gonna paint just a black onto the raised areas, so that'll leave the recessed areas with a kind of a flame look, and you can see on the shoulders here I've kind of already done that on there. So like how it looks. I like a little bit of variation between yellow and red, and we're going to do that all along that. So here we go. Well, I've got the black painted on to all the raised parts. Pretty pleased with how that turned out. I think it looks pretty cool. Not exactly what I was hoping for, but for the amount of work I put into it, I'm pleased. Next up, I'm going to do a little dry brushing on the model. I've got a darkish gray, dungeon gray. We're going to dry brush on the horns and on his face. He's got some raised bits on his arm. We're going to dry brush those. Just kind of the claws, I think, on the wings. Just break out some of those details and add a little bit of color or additional color to the model. Alright, got a little bit of color on his face and his arms. I'm going to add another dry brush. This time I'm going to use cold gray and just brighten it up a little bit. Pretty pleased with how this has turned out. So I'm going to call it pretty much done. I need to work on the base now. First up, I wanted to match the rest of my goblins, my Moria goblins. Here's one. So the way this is based, I want them to have some fairly consistent basing. I still like these big rocks that are on this, but overall I'm going to put the grit, like on the goblin, put that down, and these big rocks can stick out of that. So just a little bit of work, I think, and they'll match well. So I've got some watered down wood glue, got some talus here. I'm gonna sprinkle that on and texture the base so it matches the others. Base is all textured up and dried. Now I'm going to paint it. I'm going to do the grit with burnt umber. Next up, I'm going to dry brush the base with tan. Alright, I'm going to paint the big stones on his base with black. have the base coat on the rocks. Now I'm going to dry brush them. I think I can get away with just two. I'm going to do one kind of darker Basalt Grey, and then a little bit lighter with Ash Grey. I finished painting the Balrog. Turned out really nicely, I think. I'm pleased with the look of it. I think the magma, the lava, looks pretty well. It only took me about 10 years, but I finally finished this model off. He's ready to be used in some games. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this and the other projects that I work on, you can subscribe to my channel. Be sure to click the little bell so you get notices of when I post videos. You can also follow me on Twitter at Hero of the Table, and there you can see the different projects that I'm working on that may not make it to video and different games that I'm playing. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave those in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.